So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream with live peoples, and it's recorded for Ustream.tv and also for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. While I was sorting out, this is going to get rather silly, but I ordered the Cotman watercolours, and I love the fact that these watercolours are not professional watercolours. They call them studio and I call them student. But one of the first things I actually did in this book, in fact I think it was the first page ever, and I had 3 tubes which were reduced to 99p, and I had 3 tubes of paint, and I painted this, and I was actually in hospital all day, so I thought, oh, I'll take this with me. So I started it and finished it there, and I loved playing with 3 colours, but getting that purple and getting that colour is a bit difficult, so I've got 6 now. And I love the cotman. The pigment in them is fantastic. Now I did go on to buy 6 professional colours. I bought 6 and they're here. But really, oops, sorry, I've just done something to. I love them. But being an artist, I thought, no, I'll have professional ones. But I wanted people to know that they do not have to spend a fortune. And I was a little bit disgruntled that you get 6 colours that are really not actually that good for a ridiculous amount of money. So I thought, right, I had to make something for a giveaway that I wasn't very happy with. And I saw this pan in the range for 45 half pans, and they are studio set, so they are not professional, they are the cotman. But the colours and the pigments are fantastic. So this one had 45 in it. Whoopsie, it had 45. And I thought, whoopsie, sorry, avalanche. So I thought I would buy the 45, and I'm going to use the colour inside, but it will leave me with all the pans. So the colours pop out quite well. So it's going to leave me with 45 pans that are named, and I've got a little colour guide here. So I thought, right, I'm going to put, I love my gouache, but I don't really want it in this state. This is my designer gouache. So I thought I'm going to make these colours up, and they're only small pans, so there will be enough, and I'm going to fill them, and they will dry. They will dry into little pans of gouache. But I've mixed most of the colours. I've only got about 10 different colours here, and there's 45 pans here. So I'm going to put my gouache into these little empty pans, and that's going to give me a really nice set, because this is actually gouache. I've been using the gouache, don't know where it is now. It was outside. I was using the gouache outside. I've got 2 pans, but this one, when you tip it, it cracks. So this particular lot of gouache was squeezed out exactly the same time as this, but this is a stay wet palette for acrylics, and it has the rubber seal round. Now some of them have dried a little bit, but most of them are quite gooey, which is grand, except I want to be able to tip them up and take them with me, and tipping this up isn't an option. So these are tubed gouache that's dried, and it will dry in these little pans, and I can make more colours. So that means I can just have a paintbrush and this little palette. Well, I say little, it's quite a nice size, and I've got 45 colours. I can do some more mixing if I want, or I can just take a touch off there and I can use it in a colour book. or I can go sketching, watercolour sketching with it. So this is really easy, and it leaves all these at home, and I just have a little spray bottle. I have a tube, so that will fit in my handbag, and that's going to give me a lot of colours. If I'm poorly, I don't have to mix any colours. I've got 45 instantly. So I sent for another set because I needed 4 particular things, and then I said to my daughter, who's doing illustration, that she's going to need a good set. Now this isn't a professional set. These were $29.99, and I think for 45 colours is brilliant. So I sent off for another set, and I said to her, I don't want them, I want the box. Now some of these boxes are £20 and £30. The stay wet ones are even more. Excuse me, but I actually wanted it to dry out. So I sent for another one because I couldn't get to the shop, and they sent me full pans. So this is the difference. It's exactly the same box, but these are half pans and these are full pans. So I thought, well, how can I do that? Because somebody's going to get less colours, and and I'm thinking it's going to be terrible. So I had a plan. I'd said to my daughter, she's going to need some colours, so I can take some of these away and leave the most of the colours in the bottom. And she's got a set for uni, and that's her present sorted. Now it's my birthday in September, so I'm a tight Yorkshire lass, and having paid, if I don't think about it I can open it, but if I think about it, and if you nip it, it holds it tight. If you just pull it open, it does it. So I decided that I used to like the cotman, and I thought, why not? And the reason was, in this book I've been using the gouache in my colour books, and I love it. And I love it because it's flat and it's easy. But I have 3 colour books that I can't colour in at the moment because I can't use pencils because my thumbs are not brilliant. And these particular books are all originally done in watercolours, so they all have a watercolour effect. So that takes me away from the gouache, even though it's quite thin, takes me away from the gouache, and it brings me back to my riggers and my watercolours. So, in my wisdom, I decided, and it's not very good, but I'd made a mess of the page because I tried it with different things. To have a go in here. You see, that's gouache, and I love it. And talking of which, in order for me to find my pages that I've started, I put a little pink sticker at the top. When it's complete, I put the sticker at the side, and believe me, there are a lot more on the top than there are at the side. So I think it was, it may not have been in this book. Apologies, there might be a bark alert. Because I wanted to do this one, but it's impossible with gouache with a small amount of water, and that's what I wanted to do. So I've gone back to kind of Bible journaling that's very, very thin. So I had a play in here. Sorry, apologies. Sorry about that, it's the postman. So I had a play, doesn't go through, and I just used the riggers. I tell a lie. Yes, I did. I used my riggers. So that kept it fairly dry. And I really liked it. Now the colours aren't perfect. It's not finished because you need to do I started with a pale colour first, and then I'm building up colour. And you must let it dry. If you let that dry, you can use watercolour on this really thin paper. Oh, gee whiz. Under here, please, now. That's enough. Under there. Under there. No barking. Thank you. Sorry about that. Even the butterfly, which will turn upside down, has a very, very fine mottled green colour on him. So you can get some really nice effects using watercolour. And these three books I struggled with, because this one I think I will stick to the pastel pencils, but of course I want to colour in it. These are pastel pencils, so I might try and go back to that, but the blending tool at the moment is not really an option because I can't hold it very well. So I'm going to stick with the pastels for this one, but of course I've got these other two books that I really wanted to have a play in. But now I'm going to attempt, and again I'm going to work backwards. The first one, this is gouache. Now gouache worked quite well, so I think we might get away with it if I have a very, very barely blank damp brush, sorry. But in order to get these gorgeous watercolour effects and these kind of drops, you're going to need a watercolour because they were originally done in watercolours. So I think I'd quite like this one. This is number 1. I think I like this one. As long as I keep my brush barely damp, I'll be able to do what I normally do, is put colour on the end and manipulate it out from dark to light. So that's going to be the next video this afternoon. So that's brought me full circle back to the watercolours. So I asked my daughter to give me £10 from from my daughters, and £10 from hubby, and that's paid for these. So that's my early birthday present. So I've still got them, and they're still going to be gorgeous. I've got tubes, so what I tend to do is when these have gone, I'm going to mix these colours, because I must admit this is a really nice set. It hasn't got gamboge, but the red that I didn't think I'd use, I've actually used for the fox. Sorry, I've actually used for the fox. I'm just holding a puppy down. Shush off. And you can see the palette's fantastic. So the Cotman set in this palette, because once this palette's used, you can fill it with any tubes, or you can buy a cheap set of tubes, and then you can put them in here and they will dry out into pans, because that's what tubes do. If you leave them long enough, and this is not airtight, it's not like the Stay Wet one, so you can always have this palette, and it's actually a really nice size, and you can actually put a paintbrush in here. So with a little tiny thing of water, you can, I'm not sure if that one would go in, that's a bit fat. Some of the water brushes might go in. The Derwent ones won't. I think there's some thinner ones. So that's my birthday present, and that's what I coloured in there. So I'll be using these in this particular book because I love them. And so that led me to this book, because sorry. So that was the Cotman in the tubes, and this is working from the palette. Oopsie. Apologies. This is why I have stickers in them, but I don't know where I put the sticker. I don't know where I put the sticker. It's the foxy. It's the fox. Don't know where the fox is. I'm going to put a sticker on the fox when I find him. He's there. And this is cotman from the pan set, and working with a rigger, and of course really dry. So I'm quite pleased with that because I've kind of sorted the problem out with the other colour books that I couldn't start colouring in, which is quite frustrating if you've got a colour book and you want to use a certain colour. So it took me a bit to figure that one out. So when these do disappear, eventually, so I'm going to be using the cotman, and again I think it's a different box that I've got, but I think 24 colours or 45 colours for colouring books for 30, they're both the same price, 29.99, is a really good price. They're fairly good quality for, and the pigment's fantastic. I mean, it was you'll see when I do this one, just a touch, and the beauty of it is they're easy to use. It's a damp brush, and I did pop it here, and then you're just doing this. So it's really easy on your hands, it's easy on your elbows, and you're not kind of constantly mixing. So I could actually use this particular colour. I did mix some others, but this particular one I used exact. And it is a good range. It has 3 yellows, it has 3 warm reds, cold reds, and it's got one's directly in the middle, and then it's got 2 pinky reds. It's got purpley blues, cold blues, dark blues. It's got viridian green, which is that turquoisey green, and then it's got sap green. It's got a yellow ochre, raw sienna, some browns. It's got a purpley red, which is really nice. This one is, that's burnt sienna, but this one is red, light red. This is light red, and that's the fox colour, perfect for fox. A brown, I think that's a brown as well. Oh, Payne's grey. Now I used Payne's grey, but I changed it. Or did I make a black? I used a black, but I changed it. And white. But it's a really good set, and it made things a lot easier for me, and it made there isn't a colour book that I can't colour in, because there's nothing worse in getting a gorgeous colour book that you're frightened to use, or I can't use my pastels at the moment. So this was a really easy way to work, and this is my birthday present to me. Thanks for watching.